Hey, beautiful people, how y'all doing today? Real quick. I ain't gonna take up too much of your time, okay? I realize I have not done a get ready with me in a while. Y'all, I ain't even been on social media in a while, to be honest. I ain't. It's a lot. Social media is a lot. It's very overwhelming. It's a lot. And so I kind of took me a little, yeah. Anyway, I want to do a story time. And the Nolan Xavier Wells situation, it motivated me to do a story time, a couple of story times, okay? And it's about being a hood mom, okay? Raising suburban kids, okay? This is a problem in this community. And I want to tell y'all my very first wake up call, being a suburban mom, okay? And this wasn't even in suburban. This was on a military post, okay? So give me a minute and I'll be back. Yeah, hopefully I can get all this in one take, but if not, I'm gonna do a part 2. Anyway, being someone who grew up in poverty and really poor, I would say this, y'all. My husband's first deployment, I got a real life reality check when it came to the safety of my children. It used to be these little white kids, and like all my neighbors was white. Like, now that was weird to me. Like I stayed in the middle with all white people. Well, the one right next to me was white. The one right next to her was Samoan. But the rest of the one in my building was white. This is in Hawaii. Well, long story short, my husband was deployed, and it was pretty much everybody was deployed except for my neighbors. Her name was Miss Pam. I love them. They had been there since her husband was really high in rank. Like, so my husband was like an E4 then. And her husband really high in rank. That man had all kind of awards. And I don't even understand why they was there, but they had been there a long time. Like, cause we stayed in old houses. So they had been there like a really, really long time, and they didn't want to move. He could have moved. This man had all kind of awards. I think one of his awards, I think it was the highest award you can get, next to, up there with like Purple Hearts. I think it was called R. Murphy. I think that's what it was called. But he was really, really quiet. He was quiet. Like, he was cool, calm, and collect, and he loved soul food. And his wife, Miss Pam, she had cancer. And sometimes she would get so sick to where she couldn't do anything. So I would fix them food. And back then, I just learned how to cook food other than soul food, because honey, my husband had started gaining weight, and back then I didn't know how to cook anything other than soul food. So his wife, she was cool as hell. She was from the Mississippi. She her family owned a restaurant. This is a white girl, and they're way older than me. So she used to just be cooking different meals, and I used to like, you know, be chilling, talking to her and watch her, and I would tweak the meals and make them black. Okay, but anyway, her husband had a soft spot for me. Okay, he always thought I was funny, and he loved my cooking. So if it weren't for him, I probably would have got kicked off post. But at the time, I didn't give a fuck. Okay, so the way our kitchen set up, you can see your whole backyard. So what I used to do is, I used to let my kids, I think my son was like 4 or 5. I used to let my kids play on the back porch while I sit in the living room. Like, I had an open space, or like if I wash dishes and stuff, I could look out the window at my kids. And it used to be these little white kids. They were bad as fuck, bro. But I mean, I'm from the hood, so it is what it is. And we had a trailer park in our hood, so we had badass white kids. You know, it wasn't that damn serious, you know. So they used to always knock on my door, and they were like 9, 8, and 9. Like, they were almost 10. And would say, can your kids come out to play? And I used to be like, my kids live. You know, my daughter was 5, my son was 4, and my little one was like 2.5, 3. You know, but I didn't think nothing of it. I was like, well, they on the back, but they live, so they don't play. They can't leave the porch. Like, they can't leave the yard. And so I go and I let them, I say about an hour later, because I go and I look, where right up under the window, it was like a playhouse. It was like a playhouse. I can see the top of the house, but I couldn't see my kids if they're sitting down in the playhouse. But I saw the little white boys with the blonde hair, and they like stooping down. And out of the blue, I hear, help, help. And I'm like, but I'm standing at the kitchen sink, like trying to look. I was like, and I hear help, help again. Then I see my 5-year-old looking like at the door, at the glass door. She looking like, And I hear her saying, what are you doing? I come around the door. My 3-year-old, my 5-year-old, one of the white boys is holding my son's hand behind his back, and the other one is punching him, like hitting him. And I say, what the fuck are y'all doing? Like that. And they stopped and they said, we are just playing. I said, take your motherfucking ass home and get your motherfucking mammy and tell her to get her fucking ass down because I'm about to call the fucking police. I said it just like that. By this time, Pam come out the door. And she said she heard them saying help too. So that's why she had came out the door. So Miss Pam said she heard my son saying help too. So she was running to the back door too. By the time I came out there, by the time Pam came out there, the little white boy said, that black lady cussed at us like that. And then he ran off. And she said, Shay, what's going on? And, you know, what's going on? I said, I ain't cussed at them motherfuckers. I told them to take their motherfucking ass home and get their motherfucking mama because I'm coming fucking in peace. That's what I said. She said, Shay, calm down. Calm down. I said, hell no. Like, I was so fucking mad. I was about to cry. That's how mad I was. And so that's when Miss Pam, husband, came outside. He said, stay out here with her. He said, and at the time, I'm young, y'all. I'm in my 20s, so I don't know. I don't know how this works. All I know is, somebody's ass is gonna get whooped. So by this time, I'm shaking. I'm so mad because these little white boys, 8 and 9, jumping on the little 4-year-old. So here come the mama. She bring her ass down there. Now, my husband was deployed at the time. But I realized then that everybody respected Miss Pam's husband. Now, me and Miss Pam's husband forever sitting out on the porch, just talking. He telling me about, you know, me growing up in Mississippi. And he was always talking about how when he grew up, he was really poor. Like, where he was saying where he didn't have no shoes. And, like, he grew up around other poor black people. Like, the whites where he was were poor, and they were blacks. And he was like, so he kind of, like, he was a country ass white man, but he wasn't racist. Like, but when he talked, you would think he was racist. And if you're from the South, especially like the poor South, like the country, you know what I'm talking about. Like, from first glance, some white people are, like, don't get me wrong, all white people have a little racism in them. They do. It's just the way the word is. But there are some white people who you think is racist, but they're actually not. Like, they just poor white trash. Like, and he always say he grew up poor white trash. Y'all, my camera went out yesterday, so I'm going to finish it today. Anyway, long story short, he used to always, long story short, the MPs showed up. They showed up. And y'all, the white lady bring her ass, and you can tell she wasn't shit, but the white woman bring her ass down and said, the first thing she said, this black lady cussed at my kids, like that. And so Miss Pam was standing out there next to me. She just kept saying, Shay, calm down. Don't say that. Don't cut up. I said, bitch, I ain't cuss at your kids. I wouldn't even listen to her. And I ain't repeated what I said. Long story short, they started to reprimand me for cussing at kids until Mr. Pam, husband, came outside. He said, this was going to happen. Y'all going to do this right? The right way. Y'all gonna take her report and y'all gonna get on to her about them kids terrorizing the neighborhood. He came out there and said it just like that. And they was, yes sir, because they were privates. And that's another thing. You get who you get with the MP. If they were black, I knew they would have been on my side, but they came out the gate. They already was coming for me. Long story short, Miss Pam's husband went the fuck off. He told me to be quiet. He went the fuck off. He eventually got them kicked out of the neighborhood. Okay. You know what I'm saying? But if it hadn't been for that white man, they probably got me kicked out post and let them white boys terrorize the rest of the neighborhood. I'm just saying it don't even matter. It didn't even matter that them white boys had beat up my son. When they white, they right. Okay? I give all thanks to him. Miss Pam's husband, my husband ended up being the best of friends. But that man always looked out for me. But if it hadn't been for him, them niggas would have kicked me out post. They didn't care that my son got beat up by them white boys. They don't care. They always gonna go with, they always gonna choose, when it's white, they always gonna choose white. Like, our kids will never be safe. If anybody told you that they love you, I love you. Y'all be blessed.